Hey guys, Shuram here, and today I'm going to be showing you the Porsche 911 Targa 4S in multiplayer in Asphalt 9. Mine is at 2 stars, and I already made a 2-star video about this car, so thanks to bebop94 for these 4-star races. These races were recorded in Silver League, so we can see how this top-speed oriented car can do against a bunch of C-Class cars that may not be quite as fast, but are definitely easier to drive. Because one thing that Bebop told me is that this car is even more of a pain to drive than the TVR Griffith, and I can believe that. So there have been many new developments recently in the Asphalt community about some things that should be coming to the game in the near future. First of all, we have this really new, cool, and innovative way of playing a racing game that I don't know that we have seen before. You don't even have to touch the screen, you just use your eyes. It's really simple actually. You'll just blink your left eye to drift to the left, blink your right eye to drift to the right, blink with both eyes to do nitro, and shake your head back and forth to do a flat spin. You can also navigate through the menus this way. I believe it works based on the front camera somehow, but there is a video up on Asphalt's channel right now if you would like to check out more details about that. Also, there are some new cars that are going to be coming in the next update, like for example, the Dodge Dart is finally making a return to the Asphalt series. The Lancer is okay, but I'm glad we're going to be seeing a return of the Real King. Also, we're going to be seeing the Bugatti Divo coming very soon, as well as my favorite car of all time, the 2020 Shelby GT500, presumably coming as the new king of the game. Now, we'll have to do some tests on it, but given that its maximum speed goes all the way up to 1679, it should be pretty good on the more top speed oriented tracks. Oh, and Gameloft also added a permanent nitro starter to Asphalt 9 that you can purchase for $100. You can see up there that Dodge Viper ACR making good use of it. Now, I don't think I'm going to be purchasing that because, again, just like the Legend Pass, I am not going to spend money on Asphalt 9, so yeah, I'm not going to be getting that. Oh, and one last thing, I am actually going to be returning to Asphalt 8. April Fools! Yeah, I'm not going to be returning to Asphalt 8. That game is dead. Let me know down in the comments if any of that got you. But for real though, let's get back to the car that we have at hand. It is one of the top D-Class cars, having the second highest top speed in D-Class just behind the TVR Griffith, but having nearly as bad of nitro efficiency. Its acceleration is okay, but its handling is also not very good at all. Basically, this car is very hard to keep at its top speed, meaning that just like the TVR, it is probably not going to be the greatest multiplayer car unless you have a lot of experience driving these really fast and less agile cars, and you can keep them at their top speed most of the time, because that is the really hard part of these. You can see this Viper ACR up here, like, even though it is a lot slower than this 911, it is able to stay at its top speed, whereas the 911 kind of sometimes goes up to it and sometimes falls back down because of not being able to keep speed very well around corners, things like that. So that is one thing that makes these cars difficult to use in multiplayer. Also because if you wreck, they're not going to be very forgiving for you. And these are some of the reasons why I put the 911 Targa and TVR Griffith lower on my D-Class multiplayer list in my best and worst cars in each class list video, which you should check out if you haven't seen yet, by the way, and why I put other cars lower on the multiplayer list that aren't as agile as well, just because most people are not going to be able to consistently do as well with them as they might with something slower, but a more agile car. This race here is against an Acura NSX, a Pininfarina H2 Speed, and five Viper ACRs. Definitely one of the most common cars to find in Silver League in multiplayer. Bebop goes off to the left here and then comes over in the shortcut that I do not usually like to take because I generally do not like taking risks in multiplayer. Now, if you get really good at it, like it appears Bebop is, it can be very beneficial to you, but for me, I have failed that one too many times to try it and risk losing the lead that I have. Bebop catches up to this Pininfarina around the final turn, but because the H2 has better acceleration and drifting speed around corners, it is able to pull out the victory by an inch. We did beat that Acura NSX and that truckload of Viper ACRs. Now for a race against the Pininfarina H2 and the Artega Scalo Super Lettera. Now, a lot of people were a bit confused about me putting the Artega at the top of C-Class for multiplayer in my best and worst cars in each class list, and there are a few reasons for that. I think one reason a lot of people didn't get it was because, well, not many people have that car at max, me included, because it was not one that many people probably managed to get at very high stars. But when maxed, it has the highest acceleration in Class C by a good bit. It is extremely agile as well, and it should be an extremely reliable multiplayer car if you do get it to 4 stars. A couple of the people that I was making those lists with do have it at max, and they say it's really good, so yeah, that's why that is there. And I do have a video up on my channel about that car at max if you would like to check out how it performs. Sarjan was actually driving it in Legend League, and he was beating some S-Class cars, so yeah, it's a pretty good C-Class multiplayer car, and I don't regret putting it at the top on my list. So we're coming up near the end of the race, and the Scalo went the long way back there. The car that we're coming up to right now is the Pininfarina, so Bebop nearly catches up to him close to the end because of this high top speed, but the Pininfarina had a large enough lead that it was able to pull out the first place in this one. But we did beat that Scalo, as well as those DSE tenses, and there was actually only one Viper in this race. How about that? So now for a race on one of my least favorite San Francisco tracks with only Vipers, Pininfarinas, and DSE tenses. These have got to be the 3 most popular cars in Silver League, and the reason for that is because they're easy to drive and they're fairly easy to get and star up a lot. Recently, I made a video about my 77 sequential races in the Welcome to the Jungle season, and some people were wondering why there were so many knockdowns in that video. Well, the reason for that is because, well, that's literally what happened in the season. Half of my races, at least, I got knocked down in, and that was why that season was the roller coaster that it was for me. And I wanted to show you guys what I went through in order to make that video, I guess. Now, there were some really good races in there, and some people suggested that I make videos showing all of those races. That would be really long or too many videos, so I don't think I'm going to do that. But what I will do, I think, is take some of the best races that I recorded during that time and put those into a video, maybe 7 or 8 or something like that, because there were some that I really would like to show in entirety. Because the thing is, a lot of them were either just really annoying or just really boring. The more competitive and fun ones are the ones that I'm going to show in their entirety in that video, possibly later this week. And here Bebop rounds the final corner to come in first place. So in the couple of special events that are going on right now, I'm currently sitting at around 10 blueprints for the Carrera GT. I still don't have much information about the upcoming days in the event, but I'll let you know about that, and I really still don't know if I'm going to be able to get the car or not, but I'm going to try my best. In the Grand Prix, I managed to pull out the number 1 spot in the first final round, but in the second final round, I held on to my number 1 spot for a long time, and then ended up at number 4, and the 3 people who beat me got like a 1/10 of a second better than me, so that was a little bit frustrating. And then in the third final round, some people have actually gone up to 3 stars on their car, which would probably cost me another 7,000 or something tokens, so I think what I might do is see if I can win the car with 2 stars, even though at this point, I doubt it's going to be possible, but I'm not going to go any higher than 3 stars on it. That would just take way too many tokens for a car that's probably not worth that much. The good thing is that I only have to get top 5 instead of top 3 in the event, since I'm in tier 2 instead of tier 3, so that should help a little bit. I don't really care what position I get as long as I get the car, because the decals are exactly the same and the other prizes aren't terribly different, so I'm just mainly going to try for top 5 at least. A Viper ACR beats Bebop in this race, but he did beat a 3700 rank Aranera Hacera 33, which is the C-Class king in events. Still pretty good for multiplayer too, definitely near the top of its class, you just gotta know how to drive it. Now for the final race, in which Bebop is facing an Acura, a couple of ACRs, and a few E-Tenses, and now it is time for my general review about this car. It is situated near the top of D-Class, not as good as the Mazda Furai or the TVR Griffith, as it is not king on any track, those two take the cake there, but it is better than all of the other D-Class cars in most cases. Although for multiplayer, it's more like mid-D-Class, as you can see in this race, it is losing to cars that are a lot slower than it, simply because it loses so much speed around the corners. Its nitro efficiency is so poor that it can't really keep the speed, so you'd be better served in multiplayer for D and C-Class with something like the Pininfarina, or the Ginetta, or the Furai, or some car like that. And if you have the Scalo at max or high stars, definitely give it a shot in multiplayer if you haven't tried it yet. You might be surprised. This track we're on now, Nile River, is probably my favorite track in the entire game. It is generally pretty good for high top speed cars. As you can see, we're pulling away from this Acura here. But you also have to keep in mind, there is that section near the end of the track, which is kind of the great equalizer. Whereas cars with really good top speed can get ahead in that long straight section back there, this 360-degree turn is where those cars with really good handling and drifting speed will really show what they can do. As you can see, this Acura is coming up behind Bebop really fast here, and because of its better nitro and acceleration, manages to barely inch out the victory. Thank you very much to Bebop for these races. Thank you all for watching. Please like the video if you have enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt and other games content. And I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.